So the movie 1917 has been out in theaters for some time now, and I've heard a lot about it, especially about the cinematography and how the whole film was shot to look like a one-take movie. Even today, it won an Oscar for the best sound mixing. So even though I've heard so much about the movie, I'm still reluctant to go watch it in theaters. So I wanted to know your views about whether I should watch it or not.
I think you why not? You should definitely watch it because it's an experience, and especially if you can go and watch it in IMAX, that will be great because it's kind of the movie is very immersive. Now, when I say immersive, it's not really the immersion that you get by seeing something on big screen, but so there's also another level of immersion that they've achieved. This whole single shot makes you sort of travel with the characters in real time, and that's one of the reasons why they're calling it immersive. That's a which kind of adds to the whole experience. But whether 1917 is a holistic war movie or not, that's something that I've been thinking about, and I'd express my views a little later. But let's just hear from Sonic as to what he feels about the movie. What are your first impressions?
Yeah, so my first impressions, first of all, I was absolutely moved after the movie because I loved the cinematography, I loved the music. As you said, it won an Oscar for sound mixing and cinematography. So I loved it on both grounds. And I also felt that basically this is not a movie that has the most complicated plots.
No, no,
What it sells is an overall experience,
right.
and I liked it precisely for that. There were intimate close-up camera angles which made me feel with the characters on a personal note, which otherwise are fulfilled by monologues
Right.
or other plot
Right.
elements.
So you're right. The exciting element is that there's not much of speaking here. There's a lot of
Yeah,
action,
yeah.
and that makes it easier for people to understand. So I actually went with my parents, and the movie is in English, so we couldn't get a Hindi show. I don't think it's been dubbed in Hindi or you get Hindi subtitles. So that was the only show available to us.
Okay.
And they were a little hesitant. That's like, don't worry, there's not much of speaking, and even if there is, you'd understand it. So yeah, that makes the movie very accessible. The fact that there's not too much of conversation, and every conversation is supported by sort of an action that surrounds it. So if you're English speaking or not, you'll still get it.
Right.
So that's definitely one advantage.
Yeah, I feel from that I can come with this point that probably what the movie does is it boils down basic universal themes visually.
Right, that's so well said, Swanik. Yes, yes. That's what it
Because
is.
so you don't need a written verbal interaction to show everything. You can do
Yes.
it because that's what a movie
Yes,
has the
and some of the
potential to
universal
do.
themes that you encounter are this whole sense of urgency, this whole sense of vulnerability,
Right.
this whole sense of risking your life
Yeah.
for the nation or for the larger good.
Yeah.
So yeah, those three themes kind of connect with anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
Besides, of course, a lot of the current youth doesn't know much about World War One, and what it doesn't get into the discussion about the war itself, but it puts you in the war zone, and it's almost like for the first half it was almost like you're playing a game. There are these characters, following their trail,
Yeah.
and you wish them to win, and if you had choices if it was made like what was that Netflix movie, Bandersnatch, where you could
Oh,
choose
yeah,
for the
right.
characters, then it completely
Black Mirror
Black Mirror
Bandersnatch, yeah.
Bandersnatch, then it would completely turn into a gaming episode.
Hmm.
The only element that was missing was the interactive element that you
Yeah.
could play around with the characters. But yeah, it felt like a game set in the World War One, and there are these events that are happening with these people, and you want them to win. The film obviously acquires a more serious tone, and this is a spoiler. I'm sorry. When of the two people who've been given a mission, one of them sort of falls prey to
Disappears.
let's use the word disappears. Yes,
Yeah.
sort of just suddenly disappears from the game.
Right.
And that's when it kind of suddenly acquires an emotional appeal. Till then, it was more like, let's just follow them, let's just see where they go. So it has that game kind of an appeal.
Yeah.
And frankly, that is something that didn't work for me. I was like sitting a little reluctant, saying, "Ki, theek hai,
Right.
theek hai." It's like, I've seen better in Dunkirk. Dunkirk was almost like that. It puts you into a sort of war zone, which is even more exciting, I guess, because of the music primarily.
Yeah.
And also the non-linear narrative. So this is a linear narrative. You're just following two characters and all of that. But I think it gets its cinematic what do you say, seriousness or weight when something really drastic happens to one of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, you come from a filmmaking background,
Right.
so could it be possible that you're sort of aware that what the film is trying to do, like?
Yes, we were aware that the film was what the film was trying to do. It's just that it didn't pull me in as strongly as I wanted to. And there's been so much that's talked about cinematography. I mean, I agree that it was a challenge to shoot outdoors, and the one take what must have been a challenge. And Roger Deakins talked immensely about it. We've seen featurettes as well. But I felt it wasn't doing much for me.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you also felt
Oh
that?
no, please.
No, so for me, the film begins to make a difference at the intermission point, and the film has an intermission, and it seems like it's one of those rare English films which has a written intermission.
Yeah.
Because there's
There's this abrupt stop.
there's an abrupt
Usually.
stop, and you're waiting, an abrupt stop, but at a high point. So you're curious to come back and see, oh, let's see what happened to him.
Yeah.
And when then the story starts is where the real cinematography drama unfolds. Of course, there's a lot
Yeah.
of drama in terms of the action, but the real drama, and that's when I was pulled in. I was like, oh, that's why people were talking so highly about it. And this
Right.
must have been a very difficult scene to shoot, and I know that they planned it very well. But that's when you pulled in and like, aha, all that Gaga that we've been hearing about is
The
for
aha
a reason.
moment.
Yeah, that was the aha moment. It just pulled me in. But did that work for you equally?
Yeah. But just going back to your
Yeah.
point where you didn't like that part wherein you feel like a gaming experience. I think the entire game of cinematography is about the level of control the audience is willing to submit while viewing the work.
So I didn't submit actually.
Yeah.
I submitted in the second half.
On the other hand, I was totally okay. I'll just drive in with this experience. I'll just leave myself and feel like I am.
It's funny though.
Living
It's
it.
funny because Dunkirk did that for me. Dunkirk actually
Oh.
made me sort of suspend my disbelief quite immediately. There was something about it that did. In this one, I was still a little doubtful. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Right.
And yes, there are events, and you know that they've been planted there for you to feel the wreckage of the war. But I think I kind of took it seriously more after second half. In fact, I took it seriously just below the intermission moment.
I guess that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. So anyway,
Maybe, I mean, sorry to interrupt. but,
no, please.
The type of hype that was there before both movies, I mean,
Yes.
Dunkirk and 1917, both
Yes.
were quite hyped up movies. I mean,
Yes.
the first, like Dunkirk was well known because, first of all, Harry Styles was,
And Christopher Nolan.
and Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
So there was an expectation of cinematography and direction, but there was also a kind of a diverted hype that there's someone's going to be in it. But I think 1917 was hyped up solely for its cinematographic value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
you went in sort of expecting
Yes.
a cinematography wonder. So maybe that was
Yeah,
sort of
probably.
like.
No, so I mean, so the cinematic wonder is there in the sense that this is all all sort of seemingly one take. That wonder is there, but that wonder doesn't work for me. I was waiting for it to work, which it does in the second half somehow.
In the
Because I think
second
in the
half.
second, till that point, like I said, I was just following the characters, and and obviously, like in every game, there are obstacles. So there are obstacles that you are able to cross easily, or there's collateral damage in some of the obstacles. So so that didn't do much for me. Saving Private Ryan has a 27-minute long sequence right at the beginning of the movie where it kind of just puts you in the middle of a battle. So there's soldiers arriving through the sea, and they're being attacked by the German forces. This is World War II, definitely, not World War One. The scene is gory. And that's my question. And I think people can respond differently to it. But somehow that goriness of it, that intestines flying out, limbs flying off, all of that makes you realize that war is all of this. The whole sea turns red, and people are wading through red water. It somehow, you sink in your chair and you're like, my God. But when you avoid all of that in 1917 and also in Dunkirk, you're like, are we not missing on the reality of the war? So you're trying to replace that goriness with, say, how tactfully you use time, how tactfully you use cinematography,
Music.
So you're kind of using all these external agents to put you into the enorm, enormity of war, whereas Saving Private Ryan is much more real in that sense, because all that would happen.
Yeah, I think what I totally agree with is when you get to a point where you wanna talk about a holistic war movie,
Yeah.
1917 doesn't figure in.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a feat. It's a feat, which is why I'm not surprised when the Academy decides to give it technical awards. In that sense, cinematography
Oh,
and
yeah,
sound
right.
mixing, and not necessarily
That's interesting.
not
Yeah.
necessarily a best picture or a best director award. It's definitely a directorial feat. It's definitely a cinematographic feat, and obviously sound mixing, acting to a great extent, set design, all of that is great. But is it a holistic war movie? And that's probably the reason why it didn't get the best picture, in my opinion.
In the end, talking about holistic war movies, I think Saving Private Ryan, as you mentioned, is a very good example because there's an element of thrill to it.
Yes.
Because the person is trying to retrieve someone whose brothers have died.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also gives you a kind of a deep kind of look. They look deep into each character's background, their
Right,
psyche at every point.
Right.
And that sort of suffering which the soldiers experience when
Yes.
someone of their
Yes.
troops die.
Yes.
And I think it's
I
very
mean,
well
I
shown
mean,
that-
within the 27 minutes, there is this moment of shell shock that Tom Hanks
Yes.
goes through, and that speaks a lot. That even by being, even though he's in a leadership position, I think he's the general, and people are waiting for his orders. In the moment of the attack, they're waiting, and he's shell shocked. He just goes numb,
Yeah.
and that's human, right? Sorry.
No, please.
So I witnessed that whole shell shock thing also in Dunkirk. There is a moment of shell shock here also when he's under the debris and all of that in 1917.
Yeah.
But somehow it doesn't speak to you as much as it did in Saving Private Ryan.
I mean, in Saving Private Ryan, it's sort of that hand that trembles throughout the movie.
Yes.
That sort of humanizes.
Completely.
Like he's at a leadership position.
Completely.
He's supposed to be a
Yes.
kind of a hero, a lead
Right.
figure for
And
his
yet
troops.
he's weakening.
And he tries to hide it from his troops.
Yes,
That
yes,
shows you what
yes,
the
yes.
soldiers are
So
doing.
therefore I
But-
feel sorry.
Yeah,
No, please.
it makes me wonder, is this so the movie has heavily relied on minimalism on, I think, three different perspectives.
Okay.
One's music. It starts with scenes of conflict with really minimal sounds, and then those sounds getting together during the main action scenes and the main cinematography scenes, and then becoming sort of jarring sounds. I feel that was very methodical. Even in cinematography, it's very minimalistic. It's obviously, we come back to the one shot perspective. And the third form was, even when the trailer came out, the titles used, the font used, and everything. It was very simple.
Right. So basically, all these elements are not drawing the attention away from the main events in the story. It's not from the film, I guess. I mean, it's used.
Yeah, and
optimally.
I also think then that makes it a little distanced from a war movie, because it's
I'm
not
not
completely embracing the
Yeah.
idea of a war movie.
I mean,
probably.
what do you expect the titles of a war movie to look like? I mean, they're just titles, right? So they don't have to be all fiery themselves.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
I
I agree
guess-
to the point of minimalism because it kind of shows a certain sense of distance that the design maintains with the war. It's not so entrenched in the story that it has to look like a war's going on right there.
I
But,
guess I'm
but-
overthinking. but-
no, you're not. But it makes me think about the beautiful 1917, the word how it's written, and there is this whole gradient from orange to blue.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I
I
like that
remember
very
the
much. I
poster,
like that
yeah.
very much. The colors are beautiful. The contrast, the sort of the evening sky. I don't know what it represents, but it's definitely good to look at. So yeah, but that's a strange perspective because when we look at movies, we forget about design. But you bring up great.
So
element in
that's
that.
my point,
Yeah,
right? You've said that it's good to look at.
Yeah,
Now, what's a war?
it's not something.
It's
to
not good to
Exactly.
look at. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The point of minimalism is sort of steering away from.
In that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I think that's not so much See, the packaging doesn't make the war look good. The packaging makes the film look good.
Yeah, that could be
I
one.
like to pose a question.
Yeah,
I think this is a
please.
very interesting sort of point of contention. But where do you draw the line between being artsy and like cinematographically aesthetic and
Yeah.
sort of showing the truth of what's happening?
Exactly.
How like what do you prioritize? Being a good cinematographic experience or doing justice to a sort of event which happened and was a very real thing in some people's lives?
So I believe, the event that we're talking about right now is that whole, the moving light kind of
Yeah.
shot.
We
the
all
moving
have
lights.
that in our mind.
That, believe me, is the highest point of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a difficult scene to shoot. It required a lot of planning. And the effect is amazing. It's mesmerizing. It's mesmerizing to the extent that you want this scene to continue, to stay. Like, I wish the whole movie could be shot like that. Like, you start to enjoy the beauty of that scene, the drama of that scene so much that your focus goes away from the war. War becomes secondary, but the beauty of light and shadow, the play of light shadow sort of takes the front stage. So there's always a risk that these elements may distract you from the actual event that you're talking about. Yet you do know that these are very part of that event. I'm sure wars have been fought at night. I'm sure battles have been fought at night. I'm sure that was the moving lights was the only source of light then. So it does, but I think it beautifies it so much that I was in awe of the cinematography. But I don't know. For me, that is something that's not been tried. So like that's why I keep using the word novelty. This is a novel film. You should watch it for that. And I've already told you why I feel that it's not a holistic war movie. That it kind of doesn't bring you the pain the pain of the human condition as it should. It does try. So it definitely does a little better than Dunkirk. It does try in certain parts, but still there are movies that have achieved it much more. And another movie that comes to my mind is, and I have not had the guts to see this movie completely because it's so heart-wrenching. It's so disturbing. It's a Belarusian film called Come and See, made in 1985, also talking about the Second World War, but battle on the Eastern Front, where German forces had invaded into a Russian village. And there you see the whole mental wreckage that it causes one to go through. So again a teenager who is pulled into joining the guerrilla forces that are fighting against the German. But by the time he comes back, he sees his entire family and village has been burnt down completely. And that shock, and how he sustains that shock all through the movie, he kind of goes mindless. And that's amazing. And somehow, even when I watched the trailer, and I have not had the courage to watch the entire movie, I've seen it in parts, I feel so disturbed that I can't watch it.
Even when you watch the trailer.
Even when I watch the trailer. And I think we should show the trailer.
And that lies in sharp contrast to 1917's trailer.
Where you would want to watch it
again.
Where you would
want to watch it again.
Because it's so beautiful. Because again, at the back of your head, it being a feat in cinematography always plays in her. Oh my God, he's done it. Roger Deakins, right?
Roger Deakins
has done it so well. So that's where the question is.
It's a thin line.
It's that's what. So when I watched it, like I said, I was captivated by the movie. So there are no flaws. I mean, first half we've already discussed how first half had a certain impact, and second half has a certain impact. But after watching it, I was like, that this is like a commentary that's been going on in my head is like, that was I captivated by the artistry of the film, or by the trueness of the film, or by what? Maybe all of it, maybe none of it. I don't know. I haven't found my answer. So that's to come back to the question that you asked, Shirag, is that should you watch it? And the answer still remains yes, you should. Should you treat it like a holistic war movie? Maybe not.
Maybe not. And if those were your expectations out of 1917, then probably not.
And I mean, maybe you could watch it and you can come back to us and maybe comment as a, put in your thoughts as a comment on whether you agree with us or not. But I mean, that's our take right now. So I hope you guys have liked this. There was a tremendous response to our last podcast. We're very, very grateful. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation as much as we were enjoying, and we've got this lofty new place to shoot at.
Feels good here.
It's really good. It's really warm. And look at that. I wish if we had worn blue today, we would have been representing 1917 a little more closely. But yeah, that apart, please do watch. Please do send in your comments.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to, if you've really enjoyed seeing it. No, actually, please like. We really the number of views really matter to us because it encourages us to take on further challenges and more such conversations. So that was all, and I hope Srirag, do you want to have any last comments? Do you think you'll watch the movie?
I think after hearing what you have to say right now, I mean, I think I'll definitely watch the movie because I'm a fan of cinema and the work of cinematographers and directors. I think creating a beautiful image is definitely attractive to me. But I definitely have to form an opinion of my own, so I'll definitely watch the movie.
All right, so which
Yeah.
means this conversation work for you.
And even to the viewers, we'd like to really know, what do you think, is 1917 a beautiful movie?
Presentation of war.
Presentation of war. Is it, or is it more on the realistic side? What does it make you feel?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I made a claim that it's sensationalizing war.
Do you
It's
think
open
so?
to it's open to discussion. It's open
Yeah.
to debate. Please send in your thoughts and comments. We'd be very happy reading them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.